I'm really upset about the Train to Busan remake. Why do we need it? They did the same shit with Wreck
Yeah,
in Quarantine
exactly.
with
Exactly. They
Jennifer
don't need it.
Carpenter. We
They
don't
don't
need
need
it.
it. It's the other one I heard about recently. Again, here we go. Here's a little shtick. Getting a remake, Train to Busan. Here's another one. The series Ghosts and
Okay,
BBC is getting a U.S.
okay,
remake.
hold on. This is
Honorable
super
mention.
weird.
I don't have
This
a
shit
slide for this.
this shit keeps coming up, okay? I've never heard of that fucking show ever. Never heard
It's
of
great.
Ghosts.
It's
My
great. It's
sister
great.
came in and she's like, "Hey, you should watch this show Ghosts. It's awesome. It's like really cool." And I'm like, "Okay,
So
this
good.
sounds great. This sounds like Spaced or all that shit. It sounds like an
Yep.
Edgar Wright thing. Like, I'm in. I'm down to watch." And I'm watching the fucking Emmys and then they're like, "Ghosts, a ABC show." And I'm like, "Wait, that's a British show. What do
Mm,
you mean? What is going on?" This
hmm
show keeps coming up. I gotta watch it. Apparently, it's really good.
I got my only comparison is going to be this IT Crowd. Great show. Love the
Ooh, the
show.
American version was really bad.
The pilot was so terrible. I mean, we appreciate Joel McHale for all of his work in Community, etc. But he was not the person that we should replace Roy with.
No.
And then this is kind of similar to that. Like if you watch the show Ghost, and there's one character who's a caveman, and you compare the caveman to the U.S. version, they're going to be very different. And immediately I'm like, okay, we just tried to put like the Star Trek effect with like the new series of Star Trek with Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana, like the pretty people, you know, it's just not going to work, man. It's not going to work. There's a humor factor. People need to look kind of what we think they should look like. We don't have to be a polished version. That's why so many actors, because of the way they look, are distinct. Mads Mikkelsen being among them, Mahaffey being among them. Like they don't have to be this pristine, wonderfully bubble wrap person. They can just be
They don't
a
have to be this
beautiful
pristine bubble
old
wrap person.
Oliver Queen version of
Right.
themselves.
An
So
old
like,
white guy. We get it. Like, it's
yeah,
fine. You're
yeah,
allowed to be old and white, Mike. Don't be upset about
that's
it.
right.
Yes, this shows I've heard is kind of like Spaced. So
So
watch
it's
it.
definitely it's gonna be fun. There's a show with like space. Yeah.
Mike's gonna kill me, dude. I keep calling him
Oh
old.
yeah.
He's gonna be like, "You motherfucker."
I can't wait for him to defend himself next week. Just like
Yeah.
in the middle of everything. I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
Yeah.
Just whispering into the microphone.
Right.
Um, but moving right along. Next segment. New releases. New releases this week is kind of funny. Like I've only seen one of these new releases. Candyman in theaters. Candyman is actually a sequel to the first one, which makes total sense based on the trailers, but I don't know why my brain was like, are they going to try to reboot and redo this? I think it's just because of all the stuff we constantly talk about. Nice. Sorry, Mike. Whatever on chat is very upset. He's so upset he's speechless. All we're getting is ellipsis from him. But this is a sequel to the original from 1992 that returns to the now gentrified Chicago neighborhood where the legend began. I can't wait to watch it. I definitely enjoy the original Candyman. I was scared in 1992 because I was like 8. Uh, so once I'm actually able to watch this, legally,
It was
legally,
super scary, dude.
you saw this?
No, not this, but the original Carrie Man scared the shit out of me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like went to the theater, but
No, I didn't see this in the theater. I saw Shang-Chi in the theater.
which is coming right up next. But no, I'm definitely excited about seeing this. But yeah, Candyman was fucking terrifying.
Yeah, dude.
I
Was it
love that movie. Mhm.
John Washington? John something? The guy who played Candyman is fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, that
I want to
voice.
say
You got
John
that
David
voice.
Washington, but that's the guy from Tenet. But
Yeah, that's very different. That's Denzel's kid. A little
yeah,
bit different. Slight age gap. Um, but moving right along, Shang-Chi came out while I was out. Um, I am not physically allowed in the movie theater. I want to keep my marriage. I want to keep my baby safe.
I'm
You
with you.
know, I like sleeping in the bed, not on the couch. I wanted to see this so flippin' bad. I was
You
like,
missed
can
out.
we make like a mask of saran wrap, just cut a hole like the gimp? Can I just get one of those masks, zipper around the mouth, and just unzip it so I can breathe, eye holes, and then go to the theater? Like, what we gotta do to work this out? because I heard, as we talked about it previously, that it was just such a great film, not just a great Marvel film.
Shang-Chi is my favorite Marvel movie, hands down.
Really,
Yeah, it's
really.
Shang-Chi then Black Panther, and
Damn.
so I saw Shang-Chi in the theaters. So I'm with you. Like, I understand you have a newborn at home. You want to keep that baby safe. COVID is still around. Ashley, my wife, I just name dropped her, but it's fine.
You
Ash
totally doxed her, bro.
works in the service industry. So she's, out on the front lines, been out in the service industry, never took a day off during COVID. We're
Wow.
both vaccinated. We both wear masks in public. We both bring hand sanitizers. We're both doing all of that. And one of the things that we used to love before COVID was going to the movies. I mean, we both had AMC All Access. So we would go to the movies weekly. We saw literally every movie that came out the year that they came out. The year that AMC Pass A List came out. Um, and we were just like, look, it sucks. Everything is still kind of fucking fucked up. The magic of the movies is not what it was.
Yeah.
Everybody's still wearing masks. They're not. You're not getting that Avengers Endgame opening night style feel where people are cheering in the theater and all that. But we were like, it's important to us to see this in the theaters, and we'll do the same for Dune. We'll do the same for Eternals. We'll do the same for Spider-Man: No Way Home. We probably won't do it for The Matrix, even though I really want to see The Matrix in theaters. But that's coming to HBO Max, and my family is a huge Matrix fan. So, but this movie was out of this world. Um, it had all the makings of being a old school Chinese film, old, Chinese theater, kung fu, high flying, a story about a kid and his father and his family and all of that. And Liu is incredible. Tony Leung is a mainstay in Chinese film. He
Mm.
did films with Chow Yun Fat and Andy Lau, and did the movie that was I can't remember the name of the movie now, but the movie that the Departed was based off of a Chinese film.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I can't remember the name now,
I can't
which
remember.
sucks. But he
Yeah.
was
The
in
only
that.
difference between that and Departed was Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yeah. And Tony Leung was in he's been in he was in Hero, which is my favorite Chinese film with Jet Li, Donnie Yen, Maggie Chung, and Z- Ziyi Zhang, Zhang Ji, from Rush Hour 2. But it was beautiful. The fight choreography is incredible. The environments were amazing. The acting is superb. Aquafina is hilarious in the movie. Simul Lulu is a beautiful addition to the Marvel cast. And the callbacks to Marvel films and the fact that they tie this into the Marvel Cinematic Universe just makes it that much better.
So that's kind of, I mean, obviously no spoilers and that kind of stuff, but like,
Yeah, yeah.
my curiosity was how Shang-Chi was going to fit into this new world, this universe after the blip, right? Like, obviously, Shang-Chi as a character in his own right can carry his own weight. We could just have an entire universe with just him as a character. But I
Yeah.
wanted to see, I can't wait to see how they introduce Shang-Chi to like the world of the Avengers. Like,
Right. And they do a really good job of not beating your ass in the face with it, but
nice.
doing it. So, I mean, I would love for us to talk about this movie a lot more when you get to see it in November.
I was gonna say it's coming in
Yeah,
November.
November 12th, it's coming to
I
Disney
can't
Plus.
wait.
Everybody needs to see this movie. It is really good. For someone who's a minority, um, representation matters, and Asian
Fuck
representation
right.
in this movie was exceptional. The same way that African representation was exceptional in Black Panther. You know, let's
Yeah.
get, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. Can we get a Miles Morales movie maybe? Like, that would be sweet if he's in No Way
Um,
Home. But like,
um,
I mean, Michael be like, we got you got Blue Beetle, and I'm like, well, fuck Blue Beetle. He's
That's
Get,
DC though, you know. It's not.
yeah, I mean, but no, this is really cool. I really really
Fuck Blue
enjoyed this
Beetle. That's
movie.
hilarious.
Yeah, fuck Blue Beetle. He's
No,
fine, but
my biggest thing, besides the obvious, right? Like I want to see this, and I'm a little bit hurt that once again the state of the world, as
yeah.
is now the common vernacular, has kept me from continuing my over 10-year tradition now of seeing these Marvel films in the theater, right? Like it's something that's become almost ingrained in me to like do. I love my wife to death, but she falls asleep whenever we go to a movie, and that's totally fine. I'll pay triple the cost to watch her sleeping in that chair and watch that baby sleep in that chair if I get to do it. However, it's a little. I guess I definitely have FOMO. I'm missing out on it.
I know, and a
Um,
lot of people feel that way. I know a lot of people that have not been able to see this movie, were not able to see Black Widow, that are not going to be able to see Eternals when it comes out. And we're at like,
mhm,
it could not, this whole fucking COVID bullshit for movies could not come at a worse time,
right.
because we're just off the heels of Endgame. We're ushering in the
True.
new class of the Marvel universe, with everything that happened in Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. And like, we're starting to finally get these big movies back, and like, people can't go
Yeah.
because, you
Yeah.
know, people can't fucking get vaccinated or wear a mask. It's,
State of the world.
yeah, dude.
I think, but my now I have to like take a step back though and like start to focus on something that's not what I'm missing out on. So like
Yeah.
for me, I'm like I'm sitting here going like, okay, we had the dust up, or excuse me, the continued dust up between Scarlett Johansson and the Big Mouse, right?
Hmm.
The House of Mouse. So now it's like, okay, they released it on the same day, and there was a problem there. Okay, now we've got Shang-Chi, and they didn't release it on the same day, and if we're going to go one to one, I'm going to look at the day that it did come out in theaters versus the day it's going to come out on Disney Plus. Okay, even if it's premiere access at that point, whatever the math is, we'll say 90 days. Okay, is that a standard 90 days? But I promise there's definitely not going to be a standard any kind of day for release of movies like this. Like the Eternals, when it comes
No.
out, they're not going to do any kind of tell you, hey, it's coming out in 90 days because the algorithm will tell you otherwise. And when I say about
Oh yeah.
algorithm, if they're starting to see a peak of it in theaters, then they can start do some forecasting and then start saying, okay, by the time of this date, it's no longer going to be reasonable to be in theaters, even at the dollar theater up the street from us or whatever. It's going to be now time for Disney Plus. So I'm starting to kind of play this little game of, okay, how great was that movie, whether it was Disney or Marvel or Star Wars or whatever, based on how fast it comes out to Disney Plus, right? Like House of Mouse is going to make that dollar, especially with their new
Yeah.
CEO. Like he is, I mean, he's definitely. I think. I think we talked about it earlier, Dom. TikTok algorithms. I'm not going to call anybody out. My TikTok algorithm all of a sudden starts showing me a bunch of Disney content, Disney park stuff, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a lot of hate vibes for this new CEO and price changes, etc.
Yeah.
But that's just the world we live in now, where it's not just hey, we can release something on a regular schedule. Now it's got to be we're going to use data science. We're going to use machine learning to really start focusing on what's the exact date that we can get the best bang for the buck and then get out the door. So we'll start to see where that comes in play.
And hats off to Simul Lulu, who's really taken a lot of this bullshit in stride when it comes to people saying, "Oh, Shang-Chi is the experiment."
Yeah.
If whether a movie, he's like, "Nah, man, we ain't the experiment. Like, that's not what we
No.
are." Like, and I'm
No.
like, dude, yeah, I'm here for it. He's fantastic. I'm a big fan of him.
Dude, him his social presence, especially on Twitter. We
Yeah,
Joystick Maverick follows him on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. Class act. Him like getting called out for his stock photos a couple of years ago. He's
so
like,
good.
you, yeah. He's like, your boy ain't in stock photos no more. Like it's to me like that's definitely the dream. Is like
The best one was like, it
having
was like the picture of him looking at the picture at the computer, and he's like,
yeah.
this is me looking at the Rotten Tomato scores for Shang-Chi."
Mm-hmm. Dude,
Yeah,
but it's I love it whenever I see anybody that like wears something that could be perceived as a weakness as like a plate of armor,
yeah,
and I co-sign for that shit all day
I
long.
can't wait for him to be on Hot Ones, dude. You know he's gonna be on Hot Ones at some point. Like, I
You know
can't
he's
wait
gonna.
for that.
My favorite thing about my favorite and worst thing about Hot Ones is this. One, the worst thing, when people clearly dope up, and what I mean by dope up, they do like a
Yeah,
lozenge that that kind of numbs their mouth out or whatever,
yeah,
whatever that was. It Sucrets that has like the menthol. It's a numbing,
yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, that's just great. It's got a flavor." Like, no, they don't know. They read the ingredients, and then you get people like that really go in and they're crying from their nose or leaking from every orifice. Those people I appreciate and adore, and I feel like Simu is going to do just that. He's
Yeah.
going to keep doing it.
Mike said Bob Chapek, actually the CEO, was the one that said Shang-Chi was an experiment. So fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Shang-Chi
fuck that
wasn't
guy.
the experiment.
Fuck that guy.
Uh yeah,
Hey,
I love
remember
seeing,
how it's
yeah.
like we're going to try to get a media pass for lightsabers? Guess what?
No,
We're not
it's not
getting
gonna
one
happen. Fuck
now.
that, dude.
Fuck
I'll
them.
pay full
Fuck them.
price. I don't
That's
need
right.
your handout. Nah,
Yeah,
man.
we're
I'm a,
going to live stream the whole
I'll
time.
I'll go back to it, dude. Representation in media matters for marginalized groups and for minorities. And we're starting to see that now. And I'm
Mhm.
super excited and I'm here for it. Again,
Fuck right.
give me a Latin Green Lantern movie with Kyle Rayner and Jessica Cruz.
Let's go. Speaking of Latin, Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows has been revealed last season. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, too bad. Last season was revealed to be a ancestor of the vampire killer Van Helsing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, which has been awesome because he's, like he's as fluffy as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But I love this show for an uncountable amount of reasons. Number one being my guy from IT Crowd,
Matt
plays the
Berry's
character
incredible.
Laszlo. Yeah. And then you got this towards the right hand side here, we've got the Colin Robinson character who's an energy vampire. And if you work in an office environment at all, you've got one of these with you.
Yeah, most
But
certainly.
this season is definitely picked off for the last one left. If you're watching it on FX or anywhere that allows you to hear curse words because you're above 18 or whatever, it's worth it. The language is colorful, but so is the
Matt
content.
Berry's
These
pretty
guys,
colorful, so
yeah. I mean, I think last season was the season where he had an encounter with his past self before he became a vampire, his old soul, and he had to jerk him off and then have ectoplasm all over the room to allow his soul to go to the other side. So if that's the level of content and the adult humor you don't like, don't watch this show. But if
yeah,
you're
don't
okay
watch
with
that.
that, enjoy.
Hell
Fantastic
yeah.
stuff. The funniest thing, this is off topic but random. My Michael Keaton of a father was telling me about how he was reading a speech and that he wrote and was really like thinking about it because it was unfortunately for a funeral, but he was doing it over and over and he kept kind of like weeping a little bit because it was very sentimental. It's a funeral, that's what happens. But every time he would read it in the voice of Laszlo, he would read it like this. He was a great person. He totally loved me. Like that kind of thing. He was like, I could get through it. He's like, so hopefully in the middle of my speech, I don't do that. And luckily they didn't ask him to do a speech at all. So that would have been hilarious because he's like, and I'm not going to be able to look at you because I know you can do the voice. And the minute I look at you, I'm just going to start giggling and it's going to be highly inappropriate. But I digress. Episode 4 came out last week. I think episode 5, that's how numbers work, comes out tomorrow, or actually this evening, right now. Once again, September 23rd, new shit. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what I haven't seen anything of? Another show that new season came out today.
I
Doom
haven't seen it. Yeah, I know. Doom Patrol's so good.
First season, Alan Tudyk, win. Second season, batshit crazy shit, talking about social issues. We're talking about, hey, by the way, not only am I still alive, but I'm also gay for the Invisible Man, aka the name is Invisible Man. The guy, what's his name? The Spectre. He's got that being from outer space inside of him, aka Matt Balmer's character. Uh, Brendan Fraser playing the robot kills me every single time. The chick from Orange is the New Black. We've got a bond in this show. If you're not
Yeah,
watching
Timothy
Doom
Dalton's
Patrol,
still acting.
yeah. If you're not watching Doom Patrol, do yourself a favor and watch it.
It's
It's
really
definitely
good.
worth the time. You have to get past, I think, the little bit of campiness to it, and then you have to embrace it. If you
It's the
liked
same thing
Buffy,
with
if you like
every single one of
Angel,
these DC shows.
I you just
Just
you gotta
embrace the
hold on
campiness.
to its haunches and ride that bucking bronco until you start to enjoy it. But I haven't seen the new season. I can't wait. I'm gonna start purging or binging the minute I can. So,
Yeah.
and then finally, end of new releases. Something I haven't even watched the first episode of, but I hear great things
It's
from
fucking
our
cool,
producer
dude.
Mahaffey. Dude,
It's so
ev-
cool.
like
I
I
watched the
wish I
first
took the
3.
day off, but oh really? How are they?
Yeah,
All right, yes. All right.
yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and fake pontificate on this one.
No,
I need
dude.
you to tell me.
I watched the Duel, which is the first one, which the studio behind it did some of the opening for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It was this very cool Akira
Nice.
Toriyama style samurai fucking um so cool. Very well animated. Very really cool. Like the 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 guy pulls out a lightsaber from his scabbard like a katana, and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally in. And then the second episode had Chibi Boba Fett, which was really cool too. It was about like a Jedi that survived Order 66 and started a rock band, and like it was so yeah,
What?
it was fucking cool. But the third episode, which was done by Trigger, which is the animation studio behind Kill la Kill, did the twins, and that was the peak for me. It's this beautifully animated story about about a set of twins that were born of the dark side, and like it's so cool, and it's so over the top, and it's like there's a star destroyer in there that's powered by a kyber crystal, and like is like a super cannon. It's like two star destroyers that are connected with a hyper cannon in the middle of it, and it's like this over the top anime style. It's so cool. I can't wait to watch the remaining 6 episodes. Mike said that the Ninth Jedi is also a really good one.
So
But
they released all episodes at
all
once. It
nine,
wasn't
yeah,
like
all nine today.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
1
today,
weekly.
yeah, all
That's
nine.
interesting. That's
They're
interesting
about
considering
15 minutes a pop. So each one is
okay,
about
so
15 minutes a
they're
pop.
quick.
Yeah. Yeah, sit down, watch a few of them at a time. It's really cool. It is very much the Animatrix, but for Star Wars, and that's exactly
That's what's
what
up.
I was looking for.
That's what's up. No, that's awesome. I love the animation when that came out. That was such a great like tie-in between
Yeah,
the original and obviously the second two films. So I mean, looking forward to it. And this is the hardest part for me. And I think because it's not like one continuous story, right? The Animatrix was kind of one-offs. So is this. It sounds like it's not about one continuous theme. I'm not going to want to binge it. I'll be able to
yeah,
like have that separation because there's different characters. I'm not going to hear the next part of a saga or a story arc, which makes
right.
most of us binge. So hopefully,
It's cool.
probably
It's
just me.
very
We'll
cool
have
to do it
some
in
self
doses.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll probably do it like 3 at a time, where I watch the first 3 today. I watch the second 3 tomorrow, and then I watch the third 3 on Saturday. It's
that's
really
what's
cool.
up.
You
I
should
like
watch it.
that.
Yeah.
I
The
might have
fucking the
to.
twins, dude. Kill la Kill is a great anime. Sean Flanagan, Hannigan, Sean, the guy I can't remember his last name. Sorry,
Hey, Sean.
Sean.
Hey,
Heyo,
Sean.
Sean. Heyo, Sean. Big anime fan. Talked to me, talked about Kill la
Flanagan.
Kill, and I watched Kill la Kill in one sitting, and I was like, man, this is fucking awesome. And now I can't wait for the Star Wars Vision episode with them. So it's
Worth
so
it.
good.
Worth it.